And we are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is in your part of the world. We welcome you to another edition of Rage Across New York for Living World of Darkness. Our scene starts in the Umbra, where Callie Krykos is gearing up for her Adren challenge, which will take place later today with herself and Travis. And she makes her way to Chases the Storm's little hut, where the Master of Right probably takes care of some of his most ingenious or in-depth plots. Whatever that Lupus, crazy Fiona Lupus is up to, that's where he does his things, in that hut. And so Callie makes her way to the hut, lifts up the flap, because I don't think he has a door.
Nope.
And so she'll lift up the cloth flap from the entranceway. She'll peek in. Chase is right.
You you hear some clayware, some pottery clatter together really quick. Hey, oh, not used to people coming to my home. What do you need, Krykos?
Going to do some binding with some tree spirits. Wanted to give you the
Oh,
heads up.
Cool. All right. Wow, it's really early.
It's like noon.
My sleep schedule and your sleep schedule are two totally different sleep schedules. And
Apparently,
he
would you like coffee?
oh I have something. And Chases the Storm reaches in to a cupboard. He pulls out um, a long rosewood pipe that has a very big bowl on the end of it, and he sticks the end in his mouth, and he lights it, and he takes a drag from it. And when he blows the smoke out, Callie gets a scent of pine trees and blackberries, and the sharp smell of citrus. Um, Chases his Storm's eyes go wide for a second in his helmet form, and he offers the pipe to Kelly.
She'll take the pipe, look at it. Not to cast any sense of doubt in your judgment, but I am going to talk with the spirit that could possibly crush me. This isn't gonna, alter my state, is it?
Not in the negative, no.
Okay, I trust you. And she'll take a long drag off of it.
All right. When she breathes in the smoke, it's like taking 3 shots of premium espresso, all at once.
Yeah, her eyes are going to go wide just like Chase's.
But she feels something odd with her spiritual side. It it feels more readily available.
She'll pull it away from her mouth and look at Chase's. What is this?
It's a special blend that a young lad way back when taught me how to make. What it does is something very special.
And what is that very... Actually, you know what? Can I make a intelligence and some kind of lore to try and figure out what it does?
Sure.
What would you say?
Intelligence, spirit lore.
All right, that'd be 5 dice. One success.
One success. Again, that's what you get. Your spiritual side, your spiritual essence, your connection to Gaia is more there. You can feel it just a little bit more.
In a purely OOC sense, what
In a
does that
purely
do?
OOC sense, for the next day, you have a -1 to all difficulties involving Gnosis.
Kelly blinks and she'll actually completely come into the hut rather than just sort of on the periphery of it and crouch down. This is amazing, Chases.
I know.
Can you teach me how to make this?
Hmm. Eventually. Not right now. Ancient Theurge secret.
Ah, the Arun has to earn their stripes before they can delve into this.
Indeed.
She gives him a pat to the shoulder. Well, thank you anyway.
You see, there's a benefit to coming to see the right master before you do things.
Well, I figure after 2 fuck-ups, a third one was not in order.
Indeed. Now go on, I trust you, lass.
She'll smile and make her way across the steppe to where the sequoias are planted.
All right.
And before she does that, she's going to stop at the keeper shack and bring some of the natural fertilizer that she set aside.
Okay.
And kind of have that in a bag or a sack over her shoulder as she approaches the sequoia trees and looks up to see if it's awake or asleep.
You look up. Um, you look up
If you
at
do a Treebeard impression, I'll love you forever.
you look up at the giant sequoia, or the not so giant sequoia of Manhattan.
Deku tree. She'll walk up and gently knock on his chin.
And as it spits, you see sap just like spray on the floor beside you.
Callie looks at that, really glad that didn't get on her. Hello, friend.
Are you?
Oh, not bad. I see you're getting an early start on your winter nap.
Hibernation comes in all things.
I've brought you a gift. And she'll hold out the sack, set it down on the ground, and pull out this natural compost that's sort of very fertile, very full of nutrients that all plants enjoy. And she'll stick her hand in and pull a handful of it out and hold it up towards him.
Ah, banana peels and eggshells.
All things recycled from what's used here on the sept, and all of it natural.
Mm.
And I saved the grass clippings out of it this time.
Thank you much.
And she'll let the fertilizer fall back into the bag. I come bearing gifts, Great Spirit, because I asked for a favor with you.
Really now? And what's that?
She'll stick her finger down into the resin and hold it up. This resin that you and your kind produce, both here in the Torellian, or in the Umbra and in the Torellian, is very versatile, very useful. Survival situations for Hamids and Lupus alike, it acts as a very nice bonding agent and salve that prevents infection when put into a cut, stops bleeding.
That's very wise of you to notice. Those damn rubber trees, they think they're so cool.
Also acts as a nice fire primer. Your resin burns hot and it burns long.
Why do you think my kind are dying?
Well, all things must come to an end eventually. In the natural sense, fire, while destructive, prepares those of you that have reached your peak to usher in the new generation.
True, but most often, fire comes too early.
Well, this world is far out of balance from where it used to be.
And you're one of the ones who think that you can save it.
I think I do what I can to try and help that goal along. My hope is that someday, likely beyond my years, but hopefully within your lifespan, you can see the Triet restored to where it once was.
My kind was venerated long ago by the pure tribes and their kin. Totem wasn't just a word for a great spirit. No, my kind didn't often have to look forward to fire. Instead, we'd be bearers of history.
Kelly will nod and she'll actually sit down um, in a cross-legged style in front of him. And she'll look up. Would you share some of this history with me?
My kind that live far to the west of here grow much taller than I do. A long time ago, there were two twins who fell asleep on a growing mountain. That mountain grew as they slept. It grew so high that they could see the land far out beneath them, but they could not get down. So they begged the wind, and the wind could not carry them. They begged water, but water could not reach them. They begged the earth, but it was too proud to bend to their wishes. Until finally, they decided to sing to the trees. Such a lovely song they sung. For 3 days they sung, and the trees grew. The trees grew until even they grew higher than the mountain. And the twins had a safe passage down to their home.
Kelly seems to actually be very genuinely interested in this story. When all other things could not beckon to their pleas, the trees came in where others could not.
Indeed. And do you know what the twins did with those trees that grew to protect them?
No.
They cut them down.
Kelly frowns at that. That's rather rude.
Nay, that's what they did after. In those trees, they carved the likeness of their ancestors, of animals that had protected their family before, provided for them. These trees became the first totems for the ancient people.
I see. Thus, the legacy of our nation's spiritual connections to our patrons and the trees has always been cemented from that point forward.
Now, what was it that you want from me? You've been very patient and listened to my story, so I will listen to yours.
I have become one of the leading archers of this set. And she'll gesture to the quiver on her back and the bow hanging off her shoulder. My tribe has a camp known as the Amazons of Diana. They are some of the most skilled and talented archers within the nation, rivaling great Uctenas and great Wendigos' ancestral legacies. So much so that, as of now, we are the only tribe within the nation that has gifts specifically tailored to the use of the marriage of Wild and Weaver, and she'll gesture to her bow from a time back when they were in balance.
You speak of the Black Furies. I know them well.
She'll
A
smile.
long, a long time ago, when I was barely more than a sapling, a young Black Fury of this sept, known as Teresa Brightshot, asked me to give her a branch, a branch that she would make into a bow. I gave her a branch, and she created such a bow that has never been seen for a long time. So, do you wish for a bow?
Not now, though. Perhaps in time I would be privileged enough to follow in her footsteps and carry on that legacy, if it pleases you.
You notice the spirit will actually waggle slowly, like it's settling. This broken stump. I would need to grow a new branch.
I would be more than willing to help you achieve that. The plant spirits became a bastion for me when I first arrived here, when my rage overwhelmed my common sense, let's say. And I found gardening and working as a keeper was very soothing. And I feel I owe a very big debt of gratitude to the plants and spirits of this sept, which is why I've become keeper of the land.
I know your voice sounded familiar.
I do hope it's soothing and pleasant. She'll chuckle at that. But a bow is not what I seek to craft this day. I have created a slew of Talon arrows. I have bound spirits willingly of Helios, of the wind, of even the Weaver, who were amicable to the idea of Wilde and Weaver working in unison as they once did. I have thought about the resin that you and your kind create and its versatile uses. I wish to create arrows that would bind an enemy in this resin, hardening quickly and keeping them restrained, and if need be, perhaps even, at least when all other options are no longer afforded, bring a swift end to them if that's what's required. But an enemy that can't fight is an enemy that can be questioned, and an enemy that we can use to help further the war effort against the corrupted worm.
A thin branch come down and scratch at the tree's eyebrows. You make sense. All right, then. And it will it will open its mouth, and you see a branch come down and pull its lip forward.
Callie will take out a set of a dozen arrows.
No, no. I need the fertilizer first.
Oh, I'm sorry. And she'll take the bag of fertilizer and walk up to him and start to set the fertilizer onto his lip, handful by handful until there's all of it. She feels that just pouring it out on his lip would be sort of rude.
And the branch will come down and sort of pack it in there. Oddly enough, like a person packing chewing tobacco.
Considering what she experienced with chases, she can't help but smile at that.
So, what you want? Present the arrows.
She'll offer up the arrows, and these
Put them on the
arrows.
ground.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? Out of character?
Put them on the ground.
Callie will set them down one by one.
What did you make? What did you use to make these, girl?
These arrows are crafted from solid wood shafts and the feathers of a dove. The arrowheads themselves are made from arrowheads crafted in our forge.
Iron and steel and wood and dove.
Yes.
A dove being a symbol of peace. but still a symbol of violence. I will do this.
She'll genuflect down and bow her head and offer up a point of gnosis without having to be asked.
Hmm. It will smile. And when you offer up the point of gnosis, you see the stump begin to quiver just a little bit as a bright baby green leaf pops out.
She'll smile. Do you have a name that I can call you by?
I I do, but I don't think that you could pronounce it. It is said in the babbling of rivers, of the grinding of dirt beneath my roots, of earth giving way to life. But you may call me what Tarisha once called me, Atrafusta.
Atrafusta, I thank you for blessing me with these arrows, and I will put them to proper use against foes that may be shown mercy and those that are not deserving of it.
See that you do. Now, and his mouth will move, shifting the clump of um, fertilizer slightly. I can only do 6 of these arrows right now. But for every 6 that I do, you will have to fertilize a new tree.
Kelly smiles at this. It's my job as
Never,
a keeper.
never the same tree twice.
There are many trees here in the Sept of the Green. I will make sure that they all get their equal share.
Good.
And come spring, perhaps it is time that more sequoias such as yourself be nurtured in this sept. And if it so pleases you, and she'll stand up at this point, collecting the arrows, I could take one of your seeds when spring arrives again and take them west to your ancestral homelands.
You make this tree's roots drink deep and happily.
I'm glad I can be of service.
And with that, the you'll hear a crunch, a crunch, a crunch, and a swallow.
And
Stand back.
she'll stand back.
As it spits this like golden clear amber on the tips of each arrow.
Callie will raise a brow at that as she gets more ideas of how to make these better in the future.
And the tree itself will start humming. Hum. And as it hums, as you hear what seems like wind passing through wooden tubes and the creaking of wood mixed together into an odd harmony. The tips of your arrows glow a deep gold as the steel that make up the arrowheads is transformed. It's no longer gray and opaque and shining. It's clear and crystalline, bright amber.
Callie picks up one of the arrows and inspects it closely with a rather apparent look of awe, astonishment, and appreciation.
Keep your promises, he says. And the you'll see the baby green leaf sway in a breeze that you can't feel. And I will keep mine.
She'll nod as she takes the arrows and pulls out a bit of golden string from her pocket and wraps the shaft just below the arrowhead itself so she can color code them. And she does this to each one, binds it tightly before placing them into her quiver. Thank you, Astrafusa.
You're welcome.
And she'll look up to see one of the pine cones. If you were to drop one of those, I could start nurturing the seedling now so that it is ready to be planted in the spring.
Hold on, really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And well, All right, then. And you hear the great creaking of wood travel from the roots up the mouth, up the tree, as it seems to vibrate. And it all focuses on that one branch that has that one honeycomb looking pine cone as it snaps and it falls.
And would you like me to roll to catch it?
Yes.
All right. Let me just make sure my athletics rating. Yeah. Okay.
Standard difficulty.
I
Yeah.
say she catches it with one hand.
Yeah. You got it.
She'll hold out her hand very casually, and just as it comes down, she catches it and actually lowers her hand in motion with catching it, so it's not just an abrupt smack.
It's quite big, actually. It's about the size of a baseball.
She looks the tree or the pine cone over.
It's there. You can see because you're in the umbra that it is brimming with tiny specks of potential life.
I'll make sure this little one is well looked after. And when I take him west, I will find a spot that is filled with water and sunlight so that it may grow as strong and as impressive as its progenitor.
If you take it west, it should grow much bigger than I. And that is the hope of all trees, that those that come after grow bigger and taller than they were.
I'll make sure to give your regards to your brothers and sisters in the great redwood forests.
I came from a great redwood in the forests of the state that you now call California.
Sequoia National Park, I assume?
I'm not sure of its modern name. My progenitor was known as Bathusto.
You're gonna have to spell that for me out of character later. I will find your parent and let him know that you are well.
Thank you. Now, as it yawns, you're greeted by a, a breeze that smells of wood smoke and fresh cut grass. It is time for a nap.
She'll pat the great tree on the side. Sweet dreams, my friend. And Callie will take the pine cone and place it in the pouch that hangs off her waist. And she will leave the great tree to slumber as she makes her way back to the Keeper's Lodge to finish her preparations for her task later today. And I think there is a good place as any to call that a scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, STs, for STing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We will see you again real soon.